Hey there, I'm John, and welcome to my forest. I'm located on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State, way out on the coast, the rainiest town in America. I actually grew up just a couple miles away on our family farm and currently live in Southern California. This land was acquired by my grandpa 50 years ago or so. He came out here to the peninsula in the 60s and started his own logging company. My dad and uncle, they joined when they were out of high school, and the company just flourished, and it's still thriving today. That type of work just wasn't for me. I had some other interests. I moved out of this area 20 plus years ago, but I always try to make it out here as much as I can. So a couple of years ago, my grandpa passed away at 92, and then my dad followed a few months after that. We had to figure out what we were doing with the family assets, and we had some land and some other things. I was always interested in getting some land. My uncle was just like, well, hey, there's this one, the one I'm sitting on right now. And I was like, well, that's ours? Wait, what? I didn't know that we owned this. Our farm boundary is about a mile that way, and that's where I spent all my time. Sometimes I would come over here and I felt like I was trespassing. I didn't think this was ours. So I came and looked up the property. I walked it for maybe 2 or 3 minutes and turned back and went to my uncle and I was like, I want it, I'll take it, let me acquire it. I have a ton of interest in off-grid living, cabins, nature. I'm kind of just running wild with what I can do and what's possible out here. I'm still honestly just learning what I even have. But that's exciting for me. I love adventure. I'm super curious. I love just discovering stuff. Being a forest owner now, I feel like I'm just really dedicating to being a steward of the land. These are the podcasts that I'm listening to and the books that I'm reading. I really just want this forest to flourish. I just want it to be just a happy place for animals and the trees and the plants, and hopefully eventually a place where people can come and visit and take a break and forest bathe and relax. So that's the grand vision. So for this trip, I'm out here for 2 weeks. Previous trips, I came in without a plan. There's just so much to explore that I would just walk all day and then not get anything done. But also, I don't even know what I would need to get done. I have no plan. Everything's just been kind of wandering around aimlessly. So these 2 weeks, there's a few things I really want to get done. Number one, I need to set up a home base. So there's an awesome spot right on the river that it's just like the coolest area I've ever seen. I'll set up my tent, and that way I can store stuff and relax, take shelter. I'll clear some brush and do some limbing to open up the river view. I'll have a chair where I can just hang out. So that's priority one. One of my other main objectives on this trip was to get myself a nice, clean, crisp aerial shot of the property. I've been using the Google Maps and the county maps, and they're fine, but I would really love to just get my own clean map that I can work off of. And mission accomplished. We got ourselves a nice, clean, crisp map that we can always reference. So let me quickly draw the boundaries of the property. You'll see it's 3 parcels. There's this one here on the left, the smaller one that's got a huge riverfront. And then there's 2 forest chunks way in the back here. Depending on what report you read, it's anywhere between 25 to 30 acres. I'm just going to call it 25 acres. That's a nice, round, easy number for us to work off of going forward. I'm sure glancing at this map, there are plenty of questions, but I promise you we will be using this map throughout this video series, and we'll cover it all. But maybe the first question that you're asking is, what the heck is going on in this area? Well, just a few years ago, it was actually 1 year before I acquired the land. On the 4th of July, somebody was being irresponsible, lighting off fireworks during a burn ban, and just kind of torched this whole area. So it's just so interesting with the timing. This used to be thick forest and for many years, for decades, and then right before I take it over, it all gets torched. And it's also interesting to see just how far the fire went. You notice it butts up like right next to the property lines. You'll see that these trees right here, they're pretty torched and not going to make it. But luckily, my neighbors have already begun to replant the trees. So I'm really excited to see these trees grow and return to the cool, lush forest that it used to be. And my intention with this video series, or whatever it turns into, is just to have you come along with me and be with me on the land. And who knows what's going to happen. I have all kinds of ideas for cabins, but it's something that I need to feel into. Do I want to build a bunch of cabins and have, a short-term rental situation and people are out here enjoying it? Do I want to make it more exclusive, or there's maybe a cabin or a RV spot? Do I just want to leave it empty that I enjoy or friends enjoy? These are all things that I'm just like really feeling into. But a lot of what I can do depends on where I'm allowed to do it. This is a very challenging spot because I'm surrounded by streams and creeks. I did hire an environmental dude to come on and check what's even possible. So he came in and he located a safe area where I could potentially build and dig and have all the things that I wanted if I wanted to build a house. So I'm going to locate where that is, where he thinks it's a safe zone, and just kind of have a look and see what I think. Is this like a spot that feels good? Is it big enough? Does it make sense? So I'll be finding that area and seeing what I think on that. It's kind of the wild, wild west out here, and depending on what map you're looking at, it's hard to tell where the actual boundaries are. I'm really going to focus on that first parcel next to the river, and that's also where kind of a trickier boundary is that I need to find. So before I explore the safe zone that the environmental specialist found, what I'd like to do is identify this border here between me and my neighbor, mainly because I just need to see how much space I have. So I'm going to be identifying this boundary, walking it, putting some posts up, and that'll be super helpful when I identify the safe build zone. All right, guys, I found the official survey marker. It says from April 29th, 2003. What we have here is kind of a pivotal marker because this is kind of the center of the whole property. But what I'm focused on right now is just putting up my markers going back this way, west. So I have the far end survey marker already identified. So now what I'm going to be doing is putting up my my post here, and I'm also going to be using a few tools with my phone, Land Glide, and then this new one called Regrid. I've been playing with it a little bit and it seems pretty accurate. I'm not expecting it to be, surveyor caliber, but right now I'm just trying to get an idea of what exactly I have, and this is one way to do it. So here I go. So a few more stops and I should be at the edge of the property. You can see there's an old school surveyor one here, and then we'll find the official property edge just a little bit further that way. All right, we've arrived at the official survey marker. So this is the beginning of the property. I marked all the boundaries using those apps, and I feel like I got a pretty good line here. The interesting part with this exact spot that I'm in is it kind of comes to a really sharp point. The river's right here. My neighbor is behind me. There could be something where I trade him this corner sharp end in exchange for some land. There's a whole easement situation. We'll see. But for this objective to find the border going this way, I'm feeling pretty good. So deciding what to do with this land is very, very overwhelming. When I first got it, I was like, oh, I want to build my dream cabin, the A-frames, like the den cabin. That doesn't really make sense with my current situation because I kind of need to be in California, at least for the next stretch with work and projects. So it's not like I can just pack up life and move out here to the forest quite yet. So I was like, well, maybe in the meantime, I can build some smaller cabins and rent them out. And so I started looking into that, and that turned into, well, maybe I'll just do some car camping or some hip camp or van camping. I've always loved Airstreams, and I love seeing Airstreams in nature. I just think that contrast looks so cool. I've explored it all. And then I got to a point where I'm like, well, let me just see what's even possible. There's a lot of complications with the zoning here. Obviously, there's the river. We have a big creek here, and then there's a couple streams. So there's all kinds of regulations as far as what I can even build. And through my conversations with the county, step one seemed to be hiring an environmental specialist to come and just evaluate what's even possible. There needs to be buffer zones. If I want to put a septic in, for example, that's got to be X amount of feet from a stream. And because I'm surrounded by streams, I wasn't even sure what was possible. So I hired the environmental specialist, let him know kind of what I was thinking, and he came out and found what he believes to be a safe area where we can build. So here's one of the boundary markers that I set up earlier. So this is the property line, neighbors, and this area is kind of the heart and center of where the kind of like the sweet spot of where the environmental specialist said I can build. It's along this boundary, but this whole area is all in the clear. But yeah, I'm feeling like I can easily get a big trailer or a big Airstream. I've really been into these shed builds that I've seen on YouTube. Plenty of space for that. I'm feeling good. So my number one obstacle for the property, easement. How do I get here? So the issue with the property is when my grandpa bought it, he was just going to extend the farm over here. The issue was there's a creek that separates the farmland and my property here. And my grandpa, started a project where he was building a bridge to get over here. He'd build the bridge, it would fail because he wanted all his heavy machinery to be on the bridge and to be able to come back here and do work. And it just never really worked. So that's why this property is kind of untouched. It's kind of uncharted waters for our family because it was just so hard to get back to. In order for me to access the land through the farm, I would have to drive through my now cousin's property. I'm watching this video back and it is just so hard to try to explain what this situation is. So I'm going to try my best to draw it on the map here. So right now I'm standing about right here. So you'll notice my property is actually, and this is one of the most dreaded words in land ownership, my land is landlocked. You can see the road, the main public road comes up like this. And then we get right here. So once you get to that road, there is even a little bit more complication. I'm going to draw a couple property lines. The first one is kind of on the spur road that I'm standing on right now. So this neighbor owns, all of this. Here's his house. And then he also owns a bunch of property over here on the other side. Then there's another neighbor that owns pretty much all of this here. All of this here. So you'll see that if I wanted to use this driveway, this easement belongs to this neighbor. And then I would need to still cross over somehow to get to my properties through this neighbor. So there are some complications for me to get here. So let me start with this neighbor up here. They are into land preservation, so they are just letting the forest hang out. And I did approach them and say, well, maybe there's a world where I can kind of use this spur and then just kind of extend it to my land. And they didn't really seem interested because there is a chance that I build something. I even said, well, what if it's only a shed? And they were just like, no good. So I need to keep my options open in case I do need to build something, which someday I think I probably will. So this neighbor, I'm not going to try to work out a deal for the easement. But the good news is they did grant me easement access right to my neighbor's property line. And this neighbor has been so cool. And when I introduced myself, he was just really excited to hear that I was somebody who was going to be preserving the forest back there. He had heard rumors about our family wanting to log it after all these years, and he was just really excited to hear that I was keeping the trees. So he's been really awesome. He's granted me permission to use this driveway as much as I need. So here's where I've been going and parking, and this is where the truck is right now. So I've just been basically parking here, and then I've created a little walking trail into my property. And then about here is where my home base is set up. So that's kind of the setup. But I do need to get a driveway into my property somewhere. So I'm trying to locate where that entrance could be, because I feel like this whole area, it's just too thin. It's just not realistic to get a driveway in there, a spot where I can turn around and maybe even build. Where I want the driveway to go would be to where the potential build site is. I want to be able to drive right up to it. So at this stage, I'm trying to go here to somewhere over here. So my next step is to identify where that entrance could be. If I feel like this is the best plan forward, what I can do is approach my neighbor and basically try to ask for permission for this, because I do have to cross his land to get to mine. But perhaps there's some sort of trade we can figure out. So this is the most important pressing step right now. If I can figure this out, now I have legal permission to enter my property by car, because right now it's a little funky. All right, I'm thinking that this is going to be the entrance for the easement. Like, look at this grand opening right here, these massive trees, and we could just run an extension from the neighbor's driveway, just have the easement come to here. This would be step one, just getting it to the property. That would be such a massive win. Easement coming in through here, entry into my property right here. And then you see this old road, this old path. It's wide open. You'll have to there's one kink, but still plenty of space. We'll just need to clear out these fallen logs, come in with a brush cutter. Then that would take us from the public road to the first easement granted by neighbor 2 to new easement granted by neighbor 1, entry to my property, and then full access. So these, I believe, are the steps forward for getting me my easement and access to the property. So only a couple days left out here in the forest, and already feeling a little anxiety, some sadness, returning back home to regular life. And it's funny because where I live in California, on paper it's kind of paradise. It's like beautiful weather all year. We're near the beach, happy, healthy people, a lot of entrepreneurs doing cool stuff. My work is thriving. So it's just like all these things that I've ever wanted. But it's just this yearning that I have for nature and just being out here, that I think that could just be how humans are programmed. It could also be, well, this is where I grew up. So of course I need the stillness and the forest and all things that come with nature. It could be a mixture of both, but all I know is when I'm in California, even if I'm in my groove and things are great, I'm like constantly thinking about this place, or where can I go to get away and find some peace and quiet. So it's been this thing of just counting down the days. Okay, I have 3 days left or whatever it is, and just trying to figure out like how am I going to be mentally prepared to leave this, because these last couple of weeks I felt so alive. And this is no surprise. This is where I just love to be. And there's also the part of, I feel like, yes, I've been out here a few times and talk about the property often, and I'm always trying to figure out what's next. But I felt like this was kind of me breaking ground. I felt like this was kind of, okay, well, here we're now working towards whatever it ends up being. I feel like things are underway, and it's so awesome. It feels like a big accomplishment so far. I've made sure to mix in resting, going down by the river, getting in the river, just trying to enjoy it. I feel like I'm doing it right. There's still a few days left for me to gather intel, discover new things, enjoy it. Yes, I feel the sadness kind of creeping in, but at the same time, I'm feeling like by the time I leave, I'll be feeling like I'm complete. So I'm going to get moving. A few days left, and still lots to do. All right, I got my base camp office setup. Feels really weird to have my computer out right here, but I gotta transfer these SD cards from the trail cams. And I was just thinking about it, like the trail cam situation was very high on my priority list while I'm out here because I just love them so much, and it keeps me connected to the area while I'm away. I usually see at least a couple of deer a day. I've got a coyote, some raccoons. The elk are always cruising through. Right now it's summertime, so they're, I think, in the mountains. One of my favorite parts of the trail cam so far has been tracking this mama deer and her two little Bambis. One day it was just the mom showed up and had just these super cute little fawns, little Bambis, white spots and everything. And I just love seeing them coming through. And like, I feel like they're playing, like they're zipping around, they're like jumping over logs, and it almost looks like they have a smile on their face. It's been awesome to watch that. But this next part's a little rough. It was, I think, my first or second day here. I was running uptown in the morning to grab a few things, and one of the Bambis was dead on the road. The mom was on the side of the road. The other Bambi was right there too. They're like looking, and they're kind of looking around. Like it just felt like it just happened, and there was just some panic from the mom, and it really sucked to see that, because I felt like these were the ones that I've been watching grow up on my land. It was like just this very special situation. The next day, I checked the trail cams and I saw the mom and one Bambi right behind her, and I was like, oh man, there it is. There's the proof that it was these ones. But then in the back of the photo, there's another deer, and it's really hard to tell. It doesn't look like a huge deer, but it also doesn't look like a small, one of the Bambis, but the Bambis are getting bigger now. So I looked at the photo and was like, you know what? Those are the two Bambis. Those are the ones that are here. I mean, I think there's just clearly some attachment, and it's just cool. Like these deer are on my land and having other deer and thriving and eating, and it's just a really cool thing. So just really hoping that the two are okay. Yeah, I think that was a good first run, because I wasn't even sure if these things were going to work, because it's a very dark and cloudy spot here, and it's solar power. So I just gave it a small chance of it really working, but it's been just fantastic. But I'm looking forward to repositioning the cameras a bit, giving some different angles. And yeah, if I can find an ideal spot back in the forest where, maybe we'll see a cougar or the bear, that would be so awesome. So cool. So that's all ready. So now I'm going to go set these up. All right, my time is up in the Forgotten Forest. My 2 weeks flew by, and I'm just getting everything packed up. So the work when I leave here is, number one, the biggest priority is getting the easement put in. I identified exactly where I want it to enter my property. I have a few ideas that I can offer the neighbor as far as like boundary adjust and that sort of thing. And so we'll be in touch next month. And also, while I'm, working through the easement, I think I will start taking the building ideas a little bit more serious. I have quite a few. I've been collecting inspiration on cabins and these types of things for many years. So now maybe it's time to kind of pull those out and see what feels good. And also, I need to decide what I really want to do. I mean, I love it out here more than anything. My work in California, that's where my work is. How do I kind of get the best of both worlds? I think there's an opportunity to kind of split time. So if I can get some sort of shelter set up out here and just be with the land and then be in California while I'm working, I think there's some possibility there. One other thing that I wanted to mention on the takeaways of the trip was just how good I feel. I mean, this is no scientific breakthrough, but I was very unplugged from work and social. I didn't even listen to music, which is a really weird thing to me. I love music. I was just fully immersed in the forest the entire time, and everything from just mental clarity, my vision, energy. I slept so great the whole trip. I've walked like 15,000 steps every day, and I love this type of work with chopping wood and these types of things. It feels like such a great workout. I feel like this really awesome connection to the land more than ever. I feel like I was really able to see what I have, and I was only able to explore 30% maybe. So there's still so much more to discover, and I just can't wait to come back. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of introduction to this land, and thank you for letting me share it with you and the story behind it. For the next part, I think what will happen is I'll come out seasonally. So next time I come out, which might be in a few months, it's going to look a lot different because we're in the summer now, and here in a couple months, it is pretty much nonstop rain for 7-8 months or something like that. So it'll be a little damp, but that's actually my favorite time. Is just things have like a nice glow and there's like a crisp, fresh air, and the river's raging a little bit. Things will look different. I'll have updates on the easement and building opportunities. So really looking forward to whatever's coming my way. So thanks for watching. I'm going to take one last river dip while I can and head out. So we'll see you in the next video. Peace.